It took us 13 plus minutes to mention Justin. And I think you make a very astute point there, because this is the season that we need to learn everything about Justin Fields. Year 3, you go look from 2011 to 2020 and beyond, the quarterbacks that have been drafted in the first round, and almost to a T, you've known after year 3 whether that guy is truly the guy or whether he's not. You can go down the list and see where those guys were after year 3. And so it's imperative that the Bears, starting with Ryan Poles in free agency, get Justin the resources he needs to do the best he possibly can in his development. And to your point, having a stalwart offensive tackle on the left side that gives you a little more of that comfort, that then creates confidence, that then creates command. Now all of a sudden you've got something there. And so that I'm with you that there are certain positions that if you are going to be fair to Justin Fields, you have to make sure that you walk into OTAs in May and say, we locked that down. We took everything we had in this offseason, whether that's on the offensive line, the receiving core, which I will throw tight ends in that mix. You got him help, right? I mean, and that's part of the next step here for Ryan Poles is get Justin help.
That's the only way you can be sure and confident with whatever decision you make about him going forward, right? It's going to be time to say, hey, 5th-year rookie option or no, right? Those types of things. And so you got to be sure and confident when you make that decision. And the only way to do that is to say, hey, we've given him everything that he needs to be successful. It's not his, second year in a new offense. He's got some stability here. He's got some familiarity in terms of the system that he's trying to run. It's not our first season as a regime. He's coming in trying to evaluate things. It's not his rookie year where he didn't get a lot of reps in training camp and things like that. This is not that situation. This is a situation where he should be able to come in, show marked development, and we have to put everything around him that we can. So get him the offensive line, get him the legitimate number 1 receivers, get him everything he needs to be able to be successful. And then if he's not, then you can say, we'll walk away from this thing comfortable with our 2024 first round pick that we got from the Colts or the Texans or whomever, right? And so then you can make that decision with a little bit more confidence, as opposed to saying, well, did we just not get him enough? Is he that guy still? You can walk away from it confident and say, hey, we did what we're supposed to do. I've been, supportive of Justin Fields. I think he is that guy. I think he is a franchise quarterback. But if you give him a NFL offensive line and you give him a legitimate number 1 receiver to put with what would then become a truly formidable passing attack in terms of wide receivers with Chase and Mooney and Cole, and like you have some real guys, you can get him also a legitimate number 1. So if he doesn't hit it with those things around him, I'll be the first to say maybe he's not that guy. And if you want to move on, then fine. And even if you do move on and he goes to have a better career, then you say, hey, with everything they had, I understood why they made that decision. But you have to know for sure, and to know for sure, you got to get him what he needs.
No question. And then one last piece of housekeeping to that end. For those curious about a timeline on this, you mentioned the 5th-year option. That comes up after year 3 for quarterbacks, and we're all rookies or all guys on rookie deals that have been picked in the first round. And so the 5th-year option in May of 2024 is something the Bears have to decide on after year 3. And now, because of the new CBA that was signed during COVID in a couple of years ago, that 5th-year option is immediately guaranteed. It didn't used to be. And so 14 months from now, the Bears have to make a decision on whether they want to guarantee Justin Fields' salary for his 5th season, not just his 4th season. And so it becomes a situation where this year has to tell them a lot to inform that decision, because once you lock that 5th-year option, now all of a sudden the talks of an extension kick in, and those extensions, as you know, continue to go up, up, up. There's going to be some quarterbacks this year that are going to reset the market a little bit for what the middle tier is able to make and what the top tier is able to make, and we know where it's all headed.
By the time this season is over, and really, by the 3rd quarter of this season, they should be sure whether or not they've got a $300 million quarterback or they're hitting the reset button. By that point, they'll know, are we giving this dude $300 million or are we starting over? And that's not a lot of time to be sure about that. That's not a lot of time to be sure about that based off what we have seen from him, what we haven't seen from him. That's just not a whole lot of time to be sure about that. But that's where they are because of that, 5th-year option coming up. You're going to want to know those types of things sooner than later. And we have this clock in our head like, oh, they got to 2025 to figure this out. No, they don't. They really don't have that much time to figure this out. And so by the end of this season, They need to know if he's that guy. And if he is, then you give him the 5th-year rookie option. You continue to get him on that rookie deal for a couple more years. That Super Bowl window is there for you. But again, you won't know that. At least you can't comfortably walk away from that if you don't get him the pieces around him to truly, truly be successful and give him an opportunity to make the jump that you saw with a Jalen Hurts when he has the best offensive line in the league, when he has, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Like you put the weapons around him and see if he can reach that level. And if he can, you got your guy. If he can't, you probably don't.
I have 2 words to summarize all you just said. Tick tock. Right? The clock is ticking, and it's ticking in a lot of different ways. Free agency's coming, the draft is coming, the decision on Justin is coming, and we're coming hard at you with all sorts of Bears info and analysis. Herb Howard, thanks for joining me.
Always a pleasure, Dan. Appreciate you.